Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to you all. We are so glad to have you here to the July GameUp Africa Meetup. This is a monthly gathering, a space where developers, creatives, storytellers, and game enthusiasts from across the continent come together to connect, learn, and learn from experts who have had experience in the games industry, and they come to share what the experience has been to young upcoming developers who can pick up from their experience. This meetup is both for veterans and people who are just starting out in the industry and are curious about what goes on, especially in the African space and landscape, and how to maneuver their journey in the industry. Tonight we're having a special scene. We're diving into the behind the scenes of an exciting project by Maliyo Games. It's called Safari City, a project that we've been working on for quite some time. It's a narrative driven match 3 game. And you'll be hearing firsthand from the creatives who have been bringing this world to life. You'll get an exclusive look at the art and storytelling that power the experience, and what the experience has been throughout the time that they've been working on this game, the challenges they've had, and also how to bring an African game into a global audience. How does that look like? My name is Dorothy Orina, and I'll be your moderator for the evening. Over the next hour and a half, we'll be exploring what it takes to build an African game for a global audience. Uh, let's have a look at the lineup for today. So, what are we expecting to have for the meetup? We'll be having Christopher Adomako, who is a project manager and game developer for Safari City and at Maliyo Games, who will be speaking about the project and how the making of Safari City has been. And afterwards, we will have Cynthia Bolo, who will be speaking on the art. You've told us time and again how you love the art and the characters in the game, and we want to show you how this comes to life. How we take the concepts that we have and bring them into the game, into the beauty that you see at this moment. So, without further ado, we hope you have fun. We're going to get right into it, and I'm going to be bringing in our first speaker, who is Christopher Adomako. And just to give you an overview of who Chris is, he's a game developer with expertise in gameplay programming, storytelling, and narration. He currently serves as the project manager for Safari City, a narrative driven match 3 game. Um, sorry, a narrative-driven match 3 game at Maliyo Games. And over the past 3 years, Chris has contributed to multiple successful titles, including Disney Iwájú, Our Rising Chef. He's done Secret Letters, and he's also done Whot King Reboot. His work focuses on creating fun, engaging, and accessible experiences for players across Africa and beyond. And he's also a proud graduate of the GameUp Africa training program that we run every single year to train upcoming developers, artists, sound engineers, and game marketers wanting to join the industry. This is what launched his career in game development, and he's very passionate about interactive storytelling and system design, and he's committed to advancing African talent and innovation in the global games industry. Chris, it's a privilege to have you join us. The floor is all yours. Welcome.
Hi, hello Dorothy. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. And yes, I just want to thank you once again for the opportunity you've given me to come and speak to the community. And it's quite a privilege, and I just want to show appreciation, right? And I'm really humbled, right, for to be given this opportunity. And yeah, I'm looking forward to what I can share with. Give everybody a close look at behind the scenes, like you put it, of what's happening under the hood of Safari City. And I think the main goal here would be to also try and inspire, like you mentioned, people in the community, upcoming or rather already established, to see what our continent is capable of, and to try and inspire people to also kind of take up the mantle we have also decided to take, to put Africa on the map in terms of gaming, right? So without further much ado, I'll get right into it. Dorothy, can you confirm if my screen is visible?
Yeah, it's visible. It's blurry. However, can you try moving to
Yeah,
the next
yeah,
screen?
yeah. It's That's
Oh,
fine.
that's
Yeah,
optional.
yeah. All right. So my presentation is going to be on Safari City, and basically I'm calling this. Dorothy, can you confirm if it's still blurry?
Yes, still blurry. Okay, all clear now.
It's all clear. All right. Yeah, so my presentation is based on Safari City, and I'm calling this from vision to version. The goal here is we are trying to build Safari City as Africa's next hit game. So Dorothy has spoken a lot about me, and I wouldn't want to go too much into details, but I'll just give a quick recap. So as she mentioned, I'm the lead PM on Safari City. And as we all know, Safari City is a narrative-driven match three mobile game. I'm also a gameplay programmer and game designer. I like to focus on the fun and the accessible experiences, trying to make the experiences we create fun and engaging for our players. And over the years, I've been able to gain some skills that has allowed me to lead multiple disciplines, right? So multidisciplinary teams across design, narrative, and gameplay systems, programming, back end services, and yeah, essentially the whole team. As Dorothy mentioned again, I've been at Maliyo for 3.5 years. If you want to take into account GameUp Africa, my time in the boot camp, that makes it 4 years, give or take. I've been able to work, or I've had a privilege, I might say, to work on some of the company's big titles like Whot King, Disney Iwájú, Rising Chef, Secret Letter, and most recently, Safari City. So let's go right into Safari City. So basically, in order to understand why we are building Safari City, I just wanted to lay some context as to the. I mean, we are a business, and of course, running a business should be backed by data-driven decisions, right? So, the decision to run or to create Safari City definitely was backed by data, right? So it's obvious, right? Match three is not just popular, it's ridiculously successful, and there is data to back this, right? We have games like Candy Crush, Royal Match, Gardenscapes, right? These companies are making or these games are making enough money to literally fund actual cities. So you can compare their budgets and the profits they are making with the budgets that, I mean, actual cities are having to spend on in terms of development, right? So I mean, it was kind of like a no-brainer for us, an easy business decision. Our goal is to make our very own match three that comes out of Africa, tell an African story, show African the African identity, right? So that was basically the business decision that drove the decision to start building a game like Safari City. So who is Safari City for? So ideally, Safari City would mostly appeal to casual players who are looking for a cozy, creative experience, right? I would like you to think of people who love puzzles, right? So puzzle lovers who enjoy decorating spaces, and I mean, you could also think about people who love following juicy stories and juicy characters, right? So people who are interested in seeing, I mean, new stories every single time, how seeing a story develop from its beginning all the way through some climax and its conclusion, right? And of course, as I mentioned, the big goal for us as a team is to create the first worldwide hit, right, mobile game to come out of Africa. So made by Africa for Africa. And this is not, I mean, saying we just want to be popular in Africa. No, the goal is to be popular everywhere, right? Because we feel we have a story to tell that will appeal to a global audience, right? Now, why do we believe people would love Safari City? So we have a brand promise for Safari City, and it's not just about words, right? We want to translate this brand promise into an experience, right? So what are the pillars of this promise? We hope to be able to deliver great stories, right? We want each episode to feel like your favorite Netflix series, your favorite telenovela. I mean, you close work, you can't wait to get home to play the next episode, play the next, and so on, right? So we that's one of our aims to deliver a very rich and engaging story. Then subsequently, we want to create amazing characters. My colleague Cynthia will speak more on this later, but the goal is to put our characters at the forefront, right? And the idea here is we want players to be able to pick one or two characters to be able to connect with, right? We have a diverse roster of characters, and these characters have some story behind them, right? And we're excited to share these individual experiences of our characters with you as we tell this great story. Then thirdly, we want to be able to deliver a beautiful property renovations. I mean, as we mentioned earlier, Safari City is a property renovation game. So one of our big goals is to be able to deliver this beautiful property renovations to our players. And last but not the least, an addictive and fun match three game. Right. The goal here is behind the scenes we are working tirelessly to be able to improve on a daily basis our match three in terms of gameplay and in terms of level difficulty, how the game progresses from level one all the way to the last level. And subsequently we are building systems internally to be able to deliver these levels on a frequent basis, right? So we don't just want the level to be fun, we want the match three to be something that, I mean, the moment you have any spare time, you pick up your phone just trying to go through some levels and while away the time, right? So essentially this is who we are building Safari City for. So let's get into the core gameplay. So we've tested the core loop, and I mean, using our references, we believe that the core loop works, right? It's stable and it's satisfying. So the player is playing match three puzzles, right? So subsequently, the goal is to win your match three puzzles and use or by winning the match three puzzles you earn a currency which we are calling keys, right? So this is the soft currency, so ideally it's strictly for it's strictly gained from the match three puzzles. So I mean, as we know, you play level one, level two, level three, and as you play these levels you meet different difficulties of these levels, you earn these keys, right? So what do we use these keys for? So this is where our renovation comes in. Basically, the player has a goal, right, to turn a property from its dilapidated state, right? So it's worn down, it's torn down, and this is how the player is presented with the property. So this is the before of the property, and the goal is the player is going to receive a series of tasks, right? So example, repair faulty wires, fix the roof, then clear the debris. And the idea here is, in order to perform these tasks, the player would need to use the keys they have earned previously from the match three. So again, like I said, the core loop works. It's stable, it's satisfying, it's simple, right? So, what is the ultimate goal? The player keeps performing the task and it's able to transform that dilapidated version into it's a beautiful renovated property, right? Subsequently, there will be variations, right? So, we offer customization. So, the goal here is we don't want everybody's building to look the same, right? So, you get different options to choose from um, it, amongst the different elements of the property, right? So to bring that variety amongst players, right? So imagine seeing the way you would smile after a renovation, right? That's how we want to basically transform the space from chaos to comfort, right? So you see everything destroyed, and I mean, it brings you some certain kind of satisfaction to see the kind of work you've been able to do to transform that property from that dilapidated version to this version. So one of the questions that would, I mean, keep coming up is, I mean, what happened? Like, why are we converting these dilapidated buildings into these lush, plush looking new revived buildings, right? So the question would like to ask is, what happened to Safari City, right? So let's talk about Safari City as you, a player stepping into Safari City, right? So the idea here is it wasn't always clean walls, smiling faces. I mean, nice music in the background, right? There was something that happened to Safari City, right? And in the game story, I mean, the city has gone through a lot. The city is suffering, right? So imagine, I mean, a city, businesses closed, homes abandoned, people abandoning the city. I mean, yes, people are there, but the idea here is it's even worse for them because they've stopped believing, right, in that idea of Safari City. I mean, there's not, it's not just about physical damage to the city. There's an element of emotional damage, right? Think about secrets that have been buried, right? Relationships that have been broken down. And now this, you as a player have been given this task to restore Safari City to its glory, right? But it's not just about restoring bricks and paint, right? You are rebuilding stories, you are reuniting people, you are uncovering what went wrong and why, right? And ideally, the goal is to be able to transform that broken down city into a metropolis like this. This is what we envision Safari City to be in the future, right? And how do we hope to achieve this, right? So this is where we go into details. As I mentioned, our brand promise. That is where our brand promise comes in. First off, we are talking about great stories, right? So we have created mechanisms that would allow us to expand on the story. So as you can see here, the player starts off Safari City. They are introduced to this beautiful cutscene, right? That explains what happened to Safari City up to the point the player takes over to play. Then there's this idea of mystery, intrigue, and suspense, right? Because we took an approach where we don't want to answer everything right away. We want players to try and figure out some things by themselves, right? So with, I mean, my colleague Cynthia will speak more about the art, but subsequently, as you complete episodes, we would be introducing these similar scenes to expand on the narrative design. Then we move on to are amazing characters, right? I think we've already met our two main characters, but there's a whole roster of characters, right? We get to see exciting characters like Mama Gold and Painter Bayo, Carpenter Usman, and these beautiful characters. I mean, these beautiful African characters. They have these African names, right? And basically pushing out the African culture, right? And this is something we really can't wait to share with you. And we really do hope that we can get our players to engage. I mean, you find some character you connect with. I mean, imagine what the same way you would relate to a sitcom or to a drama, a telenovela. You would hate some, you would love some, right? So that's the kind of vibes we want to incorporate into the stories behind each character. And subsequently, for our beautiful property animations, right? One of the major things we are working on now is the animations, right? I mean, majority of you may have played earlier versions of Safari City, but subsequently the goal is to introduce, I mean, interactive animations that would bring another level of feel and satisfaction to renovating the properties, right? So we've brought in a team to help us achieve these goals. Then again, last but not the least, creating amazing visuals and an exciting match three gameplay. Right, the player plays from normal levels to hard levels to super hard levels. Right, we want to set the tone when the players get into the match three. And as I mentioned, we're trying to make it addictive. We're trying to make it fun. Right, we have a whole lot of elements that we would be releasing subsequently as we release our levels. And again, I can't wait to share these exciting updates with you as and when we release updates. So to talk about some other features, so these are some major or some features I wanted to highlight within a game. So we have our daily bonus, or what you could call it, the login calendar, right? So ideally, the player logs in every day. You get exciting rewards, and you keep this up for 7 days. You get a massive reward on the seventh day, right? So ideally, the rewards you get, the prizes you get, keep getting better as you log in every day. And our in-game shop want to offer exciting bundles and gem packs and combo packs that would allow player base to be able to, play these exciting match three puzzles. Right, we are offering these beautiful, again, to highlight the UI, the looks, to make it appealing. Right, so I think that's one key thing to always try and push across. Right, how do you present your store to the player? Because the goal here is to be able to monetize your players. So what you wouldn't want is for your players to open up the shop and be put off by how the visuals look, right? So one of our focuses is, first of all, we have to improve the visuals. Secondly, we have to, I mean, based off data, we have to set our prices. Then subsequently, what you can also do is, you do price tests, right? So maybe you set some prices for certain regions, you set some prices for certain regions, you you do that test, you collect your data, then subsequently you can make decisions on which version you would be going with, right? So another way we also plan to expand the story is dialogue, right? So aside the narrative, the cutscenes you'll be seeing, within, as you perform tasks, renovation tasks, you get to meet these characters, right? So these characters come in, they have some dialogue. They say things that would help you understand a bit more about what happened to Safari City on an episode by episode basis, right? We also have a collections menu, or a menu tab, where you can find information. Typically information you would not know about the characters from just dialogue or maybe throughout the gameplay, but additional information, like you get to know what this character likes, right, to give you and to put another level of familiarity on these characters, right? So you may see that, you and main character Kewa have some things in common as a person, right? So you as a person may have some things in common with Kewa. This puts you on another level of relating to characters. Then subsequently, we do have a leaderboard, right, where we hope to engage our players on a weekly and a global basis. We also have an achievement system. There are daily goals that the player can meet to win prizes, and subsequently weekly goals, right, to help the player win these amazing prizes. So in terms of timeline, it's a matter of where we are right now. So we released last year, as many of you may already know, and at the beginning of this year, the goal for us was to go through several phases, and we have this big ultimate goal. We want to reach 1 million players by the end of the year, right? And subsequently, all the plans we've set for the different milestones for the year is geared towards reaching those 1 million players, right? So at the moment, we are in our beta version 2, where we are focusing on improving the game, right? As you know, we have a lot of competitors, right? So before we can even think about beating or surpassing what they've been able to achieve, we need to be able to make sure we can match it, right? So we have our beta version 2, which is geared solely on what, focusing on improvements to bring Safari City up to par with our major competitors, and we are gearing towards a worldwide launch. So at the moment, we do some user acquisition campaigns, and it's basically focused in some regions in Africa, right? So subsequently, we'll kickstart a global user acquisition campaign. So basically, we are acquiring users all over the world, and we reach that target of 1 million players. Of course, getting to that 1 million players is, I mean, it's always going to, it was never the hard task, right? But the hard task will always be to retain those players, right? So with these updates I have shown, and more updates to come, this is how we are planning to be able to retain and even increase the number of users or players for Safari City around the world, right? So I would also, before I wrap, I would also basically try to speak about some of our big wins. I mean, since we started working on beta V1 all the way through to beta V2, so somewhere in I mean, I think from August, right? So from May to August, or specifically in May, we were featured, or not just Safari City, but I mean, the studio had the opportunity to have three of our games featured for the Africa Day. So for Africa Day, we had the opportunity to have three of our games, and Safari City was front and center of that. And yeah, it was one of the highlights for Safari City since its release. And subsequently, I mean, we've been able to surpass 50,000 installs, right, on all platforms. And specifically, I think this is a testament to the kind of reach, I mean, the appeal Safari City has to people, right? So these indicators give us the confidence that when we start pushing across the borders of Africa, we are going to be able to hit our target of 1 million users. So to wrap up, I'll just highlight on some key things I wanted to just touch on, that is to come, right? And has to do with, I mean, episodes, new episodes, right? So at the moment we have 4 episodes on the release on the store. We hope to add another one by the end of this month, and subsequently, before we launch, we'll be adding three more to get to 10 episodes to wrap up the first season of Safari City. Then again, as I mentioned, we are tirelessly working on improving our match 3 gameplay. We want to make our match 3 gameplay feel as smooth and rewarding and satisfying as possible. Then subsequently, we have started working on some mini games, right? So some mini games, and we're going to incorporate those mini games across the gameplay. And as we all know, there's still some work to be done on the music and the sound effects aspect of Safari City, so we have started work on that. And in future releases, I mean, definitely before our worldwide launch, we are going to improve the music and sound effects. And we are working on systems behind the scenes to allow us to, I mean, generate match 3 levels, I mean, in bulk or in batches, right? So picture being able, these are all internal tools, right? So picture being able to create 500 levels and maybe release 100 every week after worldwide launch, right? So it's all about getting ready for that the demand, right? So obviously, when we open up the gates to a wider audience, we should be able to, or we should be ready to match the demand. And as I mentioned earlier, we're working on cut scenes. So after playing episode 1, you see another scene to advance the narrative story, episode 2, episode 3, and so on and so forth. So on that note, I would like to thank each and every one of you for your time. And I just want to introduce the superstars behind the game, right? So I think majority of you are aware. We have Hugo at the top, we have Machi, our chief product officer, then me as the lead PM, and the the wonderful team that is working together to make Safari City what it is. So as you see, it's not just about, one thing, right? We need several teams focused on different things, all trying to achieve the same goal. So on that note, I would like to say thank you, and if there are any questions, I would like to take them now.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris. That was a lovely presentation on Safari City, giving us a view of what goes on in your world as you're developing this wonderful Match 3 game. So let's have questions. Do we have any questions for Chris or for the team? You can type it in the chat and then we'll read it out to Chris. Chris, let's wait for more questions. You're now a project manager, not just a developer. Can you share with us how that has changed your view of leadership?
Yeah. So it's I wouldn't say it's been an easy ride, right? But I think since I joined Maliyo, it's always been about growth, right? Every year, how can I challenge myself a step further, right? So I think it's benefited me. So working on Whot King Iwájú Rising Chef. I mean, if you want to compare the two games, they have two contrasting demands, right? So one was our own title, right? So it's basically like we control the timelines, right? So there's a certain level of pressure on that. But if you want to take, for example, Disney Iwájú Rising Chef, I mean, we didn't control the timelines. That was from the Disney Games team, and it was more like that's another level of pressure for to be able to deliver the product, right? So I feel the experience I've been able to gain across these previous projects basically has set me up for something like this, and it's more of course, ideally as a game programmer, you certainly have a singular focus, right? So maybe you're building this feature, maybe you're fixing this bug, maybe you need to deliver this feature for this particular sprint or this particular milestone, right? But now you constantly have to look at the bigger picture. It's not just about the project, right? It's about the people you're working with. I mean, that comes with all its, I mean, different kinds of challenges, right? And for me as a project manager, I think my main goal is to make sure that my team members are able to perform at the highest or the best of their ability, and subsequently I feel that way it translates into how they work on the game, right? I mean, I know we have awesome people here at Maliyo Games, right? So it's for me, it's all about creating the right environment for them to be able to work at their highest, I mean, efficiency, right? And yeah, so it's more like a constant thinking, how can I improve, how can I improve the team, what can I do to make this person maybe 2x productive, like, and yeah, constantly thinking, trying to see how you can improve, right? So that's the big difference between like being just a game developer and now having to manage the entire team.
All right, awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Chris. We have a question from Emmanuel, who's asking if not for game programming, what are your alternative interests?
Yeah, so I did mention that I'm also working on game design for Safari City. So I am heavily involved in the game design for the game, and I think game design is something that really piques my or like I'm really interested in that aspect, right? Because you get to basically put down, or it's more about creating the experience, right? Working with a team, trying to create the experience. So I mean, so we don't look at it as if we are creating the game or building the software or building some feature. No, we're trying to create that experience. So I mean, I really love this idea of group collaboration, sitting together, ideating, brainstorming, coming up with ideas and how we can solve them, right? I also really love, I mean, I'm really, especially on the art side, right? I really love to get involved, right? On the art side, I mean, being able to come up with an idea. Maybe we want to think about our next property, right? How do we bring this property to life, right? So this idea of, I mean, thinking about the elements that would go into the property, how can we improve here, what can we do here to change the player's experience, all these things, I mean speak or pique my interest. And yeah, I try as much as possible to engage in all these things as well, just not focused on gameplay programming. Yeah.
All right, amazing. Thanks, Chris. Michelle is asking, for all these years in the industry and particularly in the Safari City project, what has been your biggest challenge?
Yeah, so that's a tricky one. I mean, there have been some there have been some challenges, right? And I think there are two, basically, because you know, getting into the industry, as I mentioned, it's just been 3.5 years, right? And it was basically 2 years in, or barely 2 years in, and we had to work on this Disney Iwájú Rising Chef, right? And imagine, like, that was the level of experience in the industry, right? And it was more like, okay, so you really had to move from 0 to 100 in, like, just like that, right? So in terms of, I mean, priorities, your skills, your I mean, all those things that are required, I had to level up from, I mean, from zero to, I mean, to March, right? I mean, to be able to deliver something of that scale, of that quality. So for me, I think that period was basically one of my most challenging, and I mean, it has shaped who I am today. I mean, in terms of game development, because it's more like you were thrust into the deep end, right? And yeah, it's more trying to that grit to be able to pull through, right? Yeah, so it was a very challenging period, but again, I mean, with an amazing team, you're able to pull through some of these challenges, right? So I think that was the most challenging for me. Yeah.
All right. I think I want to follow up on that question, Michelle's question, because Safari City has evolved into a long project as is. How do you manage to keep your team aligned when you're working in a project that goes on for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, and so on?
Yeah, so I think the key contributing factor to that is at Maliyo Games we adopt the agile methodology, right? So the goal here is we work in sprints, right? So if, let's say, you have, yeah, 1 year to complete a project, right? So ideally you've broken those projects into different chunks, right? So milestones, right? So maybe your first milestone is soft launch, right? Then your second milestone is worldwide launch, right? Then subsequently your third milestone is what, 1 million users, right? So breaking the cycle into these parts, then you are able to, instead of looking at the long term, right? You then, I mean, for me as a PM, it's my goal to basically, yes, I have the long term at the back of my mind, but my goal is to keep the team focused on the short term goals, right? So ideally, you saw the organizational chart. We have Hugo Machi to think about the future, right? Then they communicate that information to me. Then it's my responsibility to then lead the team to be able to achieve these short term goals. And yeah, so essentially, it's more like, before you realize, I mean, as you meet your deadlines, as you pass through your sprints, right? Yeah, you've been able to achieve more than you could have even imagined, right? So yeah, it's like, just keep them focused on the short term goals whilst you have the long term goals at the back of your mind, right? So they don't really feel like they've been working um for a year, for more than a year, right? It feels like it was just yesterday, or the next sprint comes like as if it's just tomorrow, right? So yeah, it just time just flies by. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Michelle is asking, how do you deal with family and work and friends all at once? It's not an easy job. So do you have any advice for life?
Was the question, how do I deal with family and work?
Yes. How do you
Is that the question?
balance work, family, and friends all at once?
Yeah, I would say it's not something I have, let's say, a full answer to, right? Because yeah, there are times in the development cycle. Or let me start with this. I mean, let me use the Disney Iwájú project as an example, right? So in such a time pressure, like time box, um, all this pressure, yeah, it was very difficult. I mean, to have any time for probably friends, right? So it's more like I just try to make the best out of the little chance I get, right? So maybe we are going on a 4 week sprint, right? So I zone in for that 4 weeks, right? Focused, constant, Monday to Friday, Saturday. I mean, because if you keep grinding like that Monday to Friday, I mean, you realize that you need the weekend to rest and recuperate before the week starts, right? So you still don't really have enough time to kind of like catch up with family, friends, and all that, right? But of course, with immediate family, I mean, you try and keep in touch. I mean, you log off for the day, you speak with family. I mean, online, you try and speak with friends, right? I mean, I game online with friends, right? I mean, it's something I try to do to keep that conversation going, because you could be playing games, you could be working at the same time, right? Or you could be working, you could be on a call. I mean, just trying to stay in touch, right? So that when maybe I have some time off, right? So anytime I have time off, I try and make the most out of it, right? Just try and catch up with as many people like as I can. And subsequently, so I think this is where the idea of sprints come in, right? So it's not like you're working for 6 months nonstop, right? Yeah, so you work for a period of time, you take a break, you resume, you work for another period of time, you take a break, you resume. So I think that's basically how I'm able to combine this work, family, friend relationship. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Chris. Lastly, you're making an African game with a goal of reaching a million people downloads, right? And that's a global audience. What role do you think African narratives have in shaping the global gaming culture?
Tricky question. So I mean, I think this is my take on this, right? Especially to those of us who love playing video games, it's more like you get, imagine you playing maybe God of War, right? Trying to know more about Greek mythology, right? Thor trying to know more about Norse mythology, right? And I see I see the African narrative in that way. We have so many stories to tell, right? We have so many countries, different tribes within those countries, right? Each country, each tribe has a story to tell, right? And basically, I mean, eventually, this is how I see African stories. The same way, for example, we see African music, right, taking all over. I mean, you see African music breaking the borders, going beyond into the international scene, right? This is how I also envision the African stories through games, right? Breaking these borders, getting people to know. I mean, from Ghana, getting people to know about these folklore characters, getting people to know characters from Nigerian history, South African history, Kenyan history, Cameroonian history, right? this is an opportunity for us to tell these stories that probably we grew up listening to, right? So I mean, in Safari City, you get to see, I mean, in terms of the stories, things you not hear in foreign material, right? Like the context of speaking, the way they refer to things, you not find these things, right? Yes, we do have pigeon, right? We do have pigeon within the game, right? So these kind of things, you're not going to find it in an international stage, right? So this is a side of Africa, because I mean, we don't have this in the gaming community, the global gaming community, right? So this is the opening for us, right? This is the opportunity for us to set the pace on that regard, right? To tell this African story, right? And we try to do that with Disney Iwájú Rising Chef, right? And basically follow up with Safari City, right? And subsequently, whatever project we pick in the future or decide to, I mean, do in the future, it's the same goal, right? We want to push the African story across board, right? Yeah.
All right. Maybe you can answer close that first part. Andrew is asking, it's great to know that you are in the Game of Africa training program. And in this journey, what would you say are crucial skills and habits that helped you reach the point of spearheading Safari City?
Yeah. So I think it's an important factor, right? And I mean, starting off, of course, starting off in the Game of Africa, I think the first cohort, right? I didn't imagine, I mean, to be here in the this short period, right? I mean, relatively short. Let me say it that way, relatively short in to be here. And I think one of the key things I I mean, one of my key takeaways from the Game Up Africa was, I mean, yes, it was it was more like I kept trying, right? Because as far as I can remember, I if I look back on some of the assignments I did, right, for the Game of Africa program, I know it was not all perfect, right? It was basically not all perfect, right? I mean, from what I scored in the entrance test, right, to what I was scoring on the assignments, right? It was never kind of like perfect throughout. No, there were mistakes, there were learning opportunities, right? So one thing um I didn't do was to allow those let's say those mistakes, maybe, yes, you build something, it doesn't succeed, right? Of course, I've tried my hands on so many things, right? Try to build so many things, they don't succeed and all that, right? But I never let it decide, I mean, my next step, right? I made it a point that at the beginning of every year I set goals, right? And I do whatever I can to achieve or meet those goals. Even if I don't meet those goals, right, it's not the end of the world. You get my point. I still try again, right? So yeah, that's been it for me. And yeah, I think it's more of everyone finding what it is for them, right? I really love what I do, and I think it's part of the reasons why I'm able to wake up every day, get feel excited to do it again, right? So if you lose that joy, right, it becomes difficult to pick yourself up and keep going again, right? But it's all about finding what keeps you going in this industry. Then just run with it. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris. This has been lovely. You have a very ambitious goal of getting to 1 million downloads. All the best with that. And we can't wait to have a global hit coming from Africa.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Grace. So we're gonna move on to showcase the art of the game. Every time we announce or showcase Safari City, everybody is like lovely art. This art is very amazing. This art is awesome, and we want to give you a slice of that to also show you the person that has been working on this art, and who will also share the team that has been working on this and how they have managed to create the concepts that come out very visually appealing. So up next, we're gonna have Cynthia. And Cynthia is a game artist, character artist with experience on notable projects like Disney Iwájú. So she also worked on Disney Iwájú Rising Chef. She's worked on Whot King, Safari City, and she specializes in character art. She combines creativity with technical precision to craft visually stunning and engaging game worlds. She's very passionate about storytelling and visual artistry, and she's always striving to push the boundaries of her craft. Welcome, Cynthia.
Hello everyone. Can everybody hear me?
We can hear you.
Hello? Okay, cool. So, hi everyone. It's an honor for me to be here. Like Dorothy said, Cynthia Bulu, and well, I'm one of the game artists who worked on Safari City, and today I'm going to present you Safari City's art aspect just to give you a better view on it. So I will start by presenting quickly the content of this presentation. So I will present the art goals and also the state of the art of Safari City. And the state of the art of Safari City, sorry, we contain UI UX, the characters, the environment, the animation, and the cutscenes. So these are the main goal of Safari City Art. So we aim to create a visually engaging experience, a strong visual identity, and a strong emotional connection with the players. So about the visually engaging experience, what makes a game like visually engaging? How do we want to make simplicity visually engaging? So we want to use vibrant colors. I'll put some examples. You will notice that the colors are very vibrant, very bright. Those are beautiful to look at. Yes. And we also to create a visually engaging experience, we also make eye catching animations. As you can see in the example, the animations are one of the details that makes the game very let's say more lively. And the last aspect is of creating a visually engaging experience is keeping a consistent and appealing UI, as the example you can see on the screen. So we also want to create a strong identity with Safari City Art. What comes with a strong identity? The original color combination. By original color combination, I mean the way of using colors that will make people recognize Safari City UI. So when someone that already has played to Safari City, we see a certain way of adjusting colors, of using colors, they'll be able to see to tell this is Safari City. So this is the meaning behind original color combination. Also, to create a strong identity, we use unique shapes. I don't know if it's big enough, but you can see on the diamonds and on the house that's there. On the diamonds, you have those little squares, those shapes, and same on the house, we have little shapes that appear from here and there that create that originality we are looking for. Also, to create a strong identity for Safari City, we base our content on Africa, from the clothes, to the patterns to the buildings. Yeah, we take our inspiration from Africa in general. So how do we want to create an emotional connection, a strong emotional connection with the players. So we will start with communicative looks on characters. What are communicative looks? What do I mean by communicative looks? Um, you see, for example, these three characters, right? Their looks, their attire, what they are wearing, the jewels, the tools they're holding, everything on them should tell enough about them, about who they are, and about even the poses. Actually, even their poses. Everything should tell enough about them, about who they are, and a bit of their personality too. So that's what I'm talking about communicative look on the characters. So to create an emotional connection with the players, we also use expressive characters. So here we have three different expression conveyed very perfectly by those three characters. So yeah, this also contributes to create emotional connections with the players. Lastly, for emotional connection, we use expressive colors. So for example, the image you can see here, um, the way it communicates emotions is like the colors are very dark. It conveys some sadness, some despair. I don't know which other word to use, but it's the mood is yeah, it's not great. So that's how we use colors to convey emotions to the players. So we move on to the state of the art of Sapri City. So it's the state of Sapri City art as it currently is, and globally everything that went in its making. So we start by the UI UX. So Sapri City Sapri City art went through a lot of phases, and for like for almost every single aspect of Sapri City art, um, we went through a refinement period. So for the UI UX, for example, there was a refinement moment. So this is what the UI UX looked like before the refinement, and this is how it looked after. This is how it looked globally after the refinement. We will go a little more into details in the next pages. So what the refinement included? It included the match tree. So we have on the left how it previously looked like, and on the right how it currently looks like. So now we have different icons, a more coherent UI. Even the tokens, the fruit tokens, are different, more colorful, more vibrant. And we have a different background. The previous background was just dark, like very dark. And now we have different background representing the level difficulty of of the match 3 level the players is on. So that's for the match 3 UI improvement. And we also have the shots. It's basically the same process that happened. Different icons, more colorful, more vibrant colors, more shapes. I don't know if it's visible, but on this image, on the bottom right, we included some shapes as background patterns for the two. Okay, it's also on the image on the left and the right. Sorry, the both image include some patterns. To convey to show our identity, to keep consistent with our identity. Um, we have the home screen too overall that changed. We have a more consistent style and a better icon arrangement. For example, the camera that serves to take screenshots is easily accessible, easier than how it was before. And yeah, we have a more coherent shape language overall on the screen. Excuse me. So we are moving on to the characters. So yes, a refinement also happened for the characters. So this is how most of the characters, I mean, this is how they all look like before the refinement process. And this is how they look like overall after it. So I'll go a little more into details like I did previously. So what we change in the refinement process is the design, the character design of the characters. So we have more vibrant colors, more expressive poses. The poses more expressive, more communicative, same as the smile, and the accessory that overall communicate a little bit on the personality of the characters. So we also changed on their design. We added on their design some authenticity. So basically, the clothes. So the clothes the character is wearing on the right is more affirmative, is more representative of our identity, the identity we want to create, than the one on the left. So we also reworked on that aspect. What we also changed is the way the character communicated their emotions. So these characters are expressing the same emotion. It's sadness. So on the left, it's the way it looked before, and on the right, we can see that they look a little, a lot, actually, a lot more expressive. The positions, the poses are different. Even the facial expressions are a little more visible, a little different, and convey better the emotions they're going through. Also, yeah, this is those characters are expressing the same emotions too. It's happiness, so you can see the difference is very, yeah, very visible. So we really um work on that. And on this last character, the emotion is anger. Yes. So we changed her poses and enhanced a little bit the expressiveness on her face. So we are moving to the avatars. So we added avatars. So by adding avatars, we try to keep uh, the same art style for all the avatars. Some of the avatars are actually characters from the story, and some others are original avatars that are not from the stories. But yeah, we try to keep them to keep everything consistent and to keep the same art style, the same color expressions on all the characters. So yeah, we keep some consistency. So I'm going to talk about the environment. So the environmental art too went through a refinement process. So this is how so yeah, I only added for buildings, yes. And this is how they look like before the refinement process. And this is how the environmental art looked in general after it. So what's changed? We can see the house on the left is very, very basic. So it doesn't convey what we want. It doesn't express um it doesn't express what we want to express to the player. It doesn't show our strong identity we are trying to promote. So we worked on that. We have on the houses on the right more shapes, more colors, and yeah, more vibrant colors actually. Yeah. Also, what we have with the animation. So here I'm presenting some of the very few, because there's a lot. It just couldn't fit. Yeah, so I'm showing just a few of the animation of the eye-catching animation, like I mentioned before. So those elements could just appear. I don't know. So on the second video, on the roof of the house, those those what animated there could have just disappeared. Okay, but to make it a little more interesting, we decided to animate them, sorry, one by one, to make it a little more eye-catching, to make the game a little more lively. And I'm going now to the cutscenes. So the cutscenes is heavily um linked to the narrative. I mean, the cutscene is basically, yeah, a big part of the narrative. So to communicate a little more with the player, we worked on cutscenes. So this is an overview of what uh, is currently um, in the game. Actually, there is more. Like I said, everything couldn't fit in here. So yeah, this is a bit of the process that went in the making of cutscenes. We have the sketching phase, the concept phase, including the sketchings and the color choice, the scenery choice, the characters' expressions, and everything. And down there we have yeah, the result, how everything looks like. You can see how the colors convey different and very different emotions. So yeah, that's what yeah, make us express or communicate, yeah, through the game the story of Safari City. So this is, well, I've reached the end of my presentation, so you all have you had an overview of the art of Sapri City as it is now. And if you have any question, you're very welcome to ask them. And thank you for your attention.
Amazing presentation, Cynthia. Thank you so much for presenting the behind the scenes again for what goes on in the art department. Again, the art is amazing. We all can acknowledge that. So, congratulations for how far the game has come. And from your
Is that my network?
or a
Is that
way
my
of,
network? Sorry?
can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Yeah. So I'm asking, you've had to rework most of the characters that you had already worked on before. Is there a way or a method that you deal with feedback, especially when you have to rework or redo some of the things that you have spent so working on?
There was no magic trick. Basically, it was just a lot of work. But we had to do what we had to do to make the game better, to give a better experience to the players. So it's exactly the same process that I replicated. So the process that went into the creation of the characters I just reuse the same process and recreated the characters. So that's for those who had a lot of things to change on them, like the painter. I don't know if I can go back to the painter, but yeah, some characters didn't require mm, a total relooking. Like this one, I just reworked on his clothes, so this was less work. But yeah, some of the other characters that really were not good looking, I just had to restart everything.
All right. Thanks for that, Cynthia. Any questions for Cynthia? Cynthia, Hadi is asking, what is the process of creating a new character portrait?
Process of creating a new character. Okay, so what happens is I receive a document with the character that contains the character description from the writer. So they are not coming from nowhere. I receive a description, a clear description, and I do some explorations. What do I mean by explorations? Well, I do some research to see what pose, for example, we go better with the personality of the character, what kind of clothes will suit them better. And after the exploration is done, I can work on the concept art for the character that I will submit to the team. And yeah, once the concept is, let's say, approved, if it's not approved, I'll just modify or change a few things on it, but once it's approved, yeah, I can start rendering. But before rendering, I have to define the different poses of the character, different poses, different expression. Each expression comes with a unique pose, so I have to define them. And once that also is okay, then I can render. I think you know what it means by rendering a character. It's finalizing it, putting the colors, shading and lighting and everything, make it look like it looks like in the screen now. And yeah, once that is done, well, the character is good to go. Yeah. I mean, I have to optimize it, sorry, because I work on with large resolutions to be able to have more control on details, sorry, to have more control on details. I work with large resolution. That means that at the end of my work, once everything is done, well, I have to optimize it to reduce the size of the character so that it won't be too heavy on the game. Yeah, so that's what goes in that.
Okay, thanks for answering that, Cynthia. Any other questions we have? In the meantime, Cynthia, what's the hardest or most challenging character or scene that you've worked on?
Most challenging characters. Honestly, I cannot even tell. The most challenging one for sure is the one that has the most items, the most details on them. So if a character is only wearing a dress, let's say it's a girl with a dress, that would be simple, you know. Let's say it's a girl with let's say a bald girl. Let's say she's bald, she doesn't have hair. That will make the work super easy. I mean, a lot easier. But when a character have braids, that adds some work. Braids, and let's say she has a shirt and she has a jacket on top. She has a bag. She has, you know, more items, more work. So I cannot tell. I work on a lot of characters. I don't even I can't even tell for with certitude how many characters we have now, but yeah, I cannot tell exactly which character took a lot of time, took a lot of work, but a lot of them actually, a lot of them.
Okay. Emmanuel would like to know, how long does it take to work on a character from scratch?
Um, if it was only me, it was only for me. Um, Creating a character from scratch, with including in different poses and expressions. I mean, poses comes with expressions. It would take me 2 days, 2 days. But for a character that has a lot of stuff going on, a lot of items, it can go to 3. But because I have to go through what's that? A review process. Yeah, instead of 2 day, I can go to 3 days. Yes. So the review, the reviews and feedbacks, let's say extend the duration of the process.
All right. So we have one more question from Hadi. Where do you take inspiration for the characters? Some of them he thinks look like people from Maliyo.
I had to say, I'm a human with a human brain, so I guess at some point, the people I have in mind had an influence on my drawings. It's possible, but most of the time I mean, I use the character descriptions and the character exploration. For the exploration, I go on sites like Pinterest. Yes, my favorite one, and look for inspiration. And yeah, I never actually copy exactly someone facial features for my drawings, but like I said, it might happen I add someone's exact nose on one of my drawing. It wasn't intentional, but like I said, I have a human brain, and yeah, something is happening in can have an influence on my drawings. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Cynthia. Um, do we have any questions? Any more questions? All right. If no other questions, I think this will be the end of the presentations. Thank you so much, Cynthia and Chris, for joining us this month and sharing about your experience and the behind the scenes and the challenges you're facing and how, I mean, it really paints the perspective of how long it takes and the work that it takes and the iteration, because we've seen a lot of reworking, both on the engineering side and on the art side, in order for Safari City to become what it is right now. And it has definitely taken time to get it to that. And there's still a lot more to go with the goal of getting to 1 million downloads. Um, One final question for you, Cynthia, from Nomsor. What is, with the popularity of AI right now, do you incorporate it into your work?
Um. So not for I haven't tried it for the character development, but as a 2D artist for the game, um, I've actually tried it for some of the illustrations for that we're using for the UI, just to you know to accelerate a bit the process. So I use the prompts to give me the concepts. So once I have the concepts from it, I pick one of them that gives me I mean that gave me a better result. And yeah, I now and after that I develop it myself, because I just think what AIs give, I mean, from what I've seen, what the AI tools give me, they're never good enough for me. So I have to do that by myself. So yeah, I actually only use it for concepts. Yeah.
Okay, we got one last one. Okay, from MK Arts. How did you get hired for the art position?
It's it's very simple. I I saw a post on social media, and I applied. Yeah, the post was yeah, asking for an artist, a 2D artist, and I just applied, and that's how it happened. This is actually my first experience as a game artist.
And you're really great at it. All right, amazing. Thank you so much, Cynthia. That will be it. And again, we appreciate you and Chris for coming to share with us your experience with the game. This will lead us to the end of the July meetup. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've got that insights and something that you can pick up and utilize in your games and workflows. So I'm going to ask you to just give us feedback on this event. Let us know how it's been for you, what you've enjoyed, and what you'd like to see more of. If you'd like to see more of our team members giving you insights or other topics that you may want to know more of, right? So things like monetization, marketing, or development, if you want it in depth, please scan the code. Um, we'll also share a link on the chat, so just click on it, give us feedback for how this event has been before we close. All right. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll be sharing a blog. You can also rewatch this if you'd like. It will be live on YouTube. So just go and search for Maliyo Games and you can rewatch this session and read a blog if you prefer to read instead. And we'll also share a recap email with those that registered for the event. Thanks again for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your evening and the week. Bye bye, everyone.